A girl accidentally traveled to an interstellar beast world. Originally thought I could just lie flat and collect basic income every month. But unexpectedly, she became the only purebred female in the Blue Sea Empire. Countless powerful Empire elites transformed into adorable beast forms to show her affection. Among them was the strongest prince of the Blue Sea Empire, and the war god Grand Marshal, who commands the Empire's armored corps, and the divine-level healer with superb medical skills. Looking at the big shots all around who had transformed into cute beast forms, the girl couldn't help but sigh. There are just too many. Simply impossible to pet them all. This is a world where females are strong and males are tragic. Females are responsible for the reproduction of beastmen. Males are responsible for killing interstellar beasts. And at this moment, in a quiet, primeval forest, a tall girl lay quietly on the ground, and nestled beside the woman was a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex. Occasionally its big head would come close to her face to sniff, then continue lying beside her, guarding. I don't know how much time passed. Suri slowly opened her eyes, seeing that the surroundings were all towering trees hundreds of meters high. She showed a confused expression when she looked up and saw 9 suns of different colors in the sky. She was completely stunned. Recalling what had happened before, she vaguely remembered she and her friends were climbing Huangshan Mountain. Just as they reached the mountaintop, suddenly, a fierce wind rose, and a torrential downpour poured. In the chaos, she was knocked off the cliff by someone. She thought she was still alive, but seeing the scene before her, she felt she had time traveled. After all, modern people. Who hasn't read a few time travel novels? But she started off by traveling to a primeval forest. What was going on? Just as Suri was puzzled, a rustling sound suddenly came from beside her. When she saw not far from her, a massive creature grazing, she was stunned. Weren't dinosaurs already extinct over 65 million years ago? Could it be she had traveled to the Cretaceous period? Driven by curiosity, she glanced back at the massive creature before her. She saw a huge dinosaur, with teeth as sharp as daggers, eyes gleaming with ferocity, its body covered in rough, brown skin, looking extremely fierce, exactly like the description of a Tyrannosaurus Rex in books. Oh no, this time she was really going to die. Instinctively, she hid behind a nearby tree. The branches beside her swayed. She caught a strong scent of blood. It wasn't the wind, but the breath of that Tyrannosaurus Rex. In this tense moment, Suri's breathing became rapid. Her heart pounded like a drum, beating against her chest. At this moment, her mind was completely blank. After who knows how long, when the surrounding leaves stopped moving, she thought the Tyrannosaurus Rex had left, and cautiously let out a sigh of relief. But suddenly, a pair of huge, cold eyes looked over. Seeing the girl awake, the Tyrannosaurus Rex felt somewhat delighted. Just now, many strange beasts had wanted to harm the girl, but the Tyrannosaurus Rex had driven them all away. Suri widened her eyes and stared back at him. She could even clearly feel his warm, moist breath. Seeing Suri awake, the Tyrannosaurus Rex reached out a front claw, wanting to touch her head. Suri thought the Tyrannosaurus Rex was going to hurt her, and quickly bent down, grabbing a handful of mud from beside her feet, and flung it fiercely toward the dinosaur's eyes. The dirt got into his eyes, causing the Tyrannosaurus Rex to cry out in pain, and thrash around like a headless fly. While the dinosaur was temporarily blinded, Suri mustered her courage and took off running. But how could her speed possibly outmatch that of a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Soon, she was caught up by the Tyrannosaurus Rex and grabbed by its claw. Feeling a burning, stinging from her back, she knew she was probably going to meet her end right here. And at this moment, the Tyrannosaurus Rex lowered its head and roared angrily at her. It didn't understand why this female beast person was running when it was clearly protecting her. But upon seeing the injury on Suri's back, Its face instantly turned panicked and flustered. And at this moment, Sori, lying on the ground, had already closed her eyes. She felt her life first draining away. Presumably, she was the shortest-lived transmigrator in history. And at this moment, above her, a black aircraft of cold texture was navigating. Suddenly, waves of red light flashed in the aircraft's control room. Alert! Alert! Detected on planet S001. A rare female life form. The female's life value is draining. Please proceed to the target point for rescue immediately. Please proceed to the target point for rescue immediately. The highest leader on the ship, Kang, narrowed his pupils upon hearing this. This is an undeveloped, primitive planet. Basically, no beastmen would choose to live here. Moreover, the indigenous dinosaurs here are not easy to provoke. On their planet, females are extremely rare. Basically, all planets protect females. So how could a female appear here? Could it be a system detection error? But after a few seconds of thought, he still ordered, proceed to investigate according to the coordinates located by the warship, near where Suri waited in despair for death, accompanied by the roaring sound of engines. In the sky, a behemoth slowly descended on the open ground in front of her, startling the birds and beasts in the forest into fleeing in all directions. The Tyrannosaurus Rex looked at the familiar behemoth before its eyes. He knew this was the ORC's flying sword. His mother was killed by this thing. Looking at the injured Suri, the Tyrannosaurus gave one last glance, filled with both guilt and reluctance. Then he turned and headed deep into the dense forest. His original intention was just to play with her. Who knew this ORC would be so afraid of him? Just now, the ORC race has arrived. Presumably, as a female of the ORC race, she should be able to be rescued. After the flying ship landed and stabilized, the hatch opened. A group of soldiers clad in black battle armor, holding large energy guns, walked out in an orderly manner. After the soldiers stood in 2 rows, a tall, handsome man, wearing cool, blue-black battle armor, stepped out of the flying sword with the cold expression. Unfortunately, Suri, who had lost too much blood, glanced dazedly, and before she could clearly see the other's face, completely passed out. Seeing this, Kang immediately rushed to her side. There was no time to think about why a female would appear here. He picked up the injured Suri and quickly returned to the flying sword. Then he urgently gave the order to return to the base. Because this female's life force was extremely low at the moment, she was very likely in mortal danger. The soldiers also had no time to be surprised about why a female was here. Hearing Grand Marshal King say that this female was in mortal danger, they immediately panicked and ran back to the flying ship, preparing to return. After all, in this environment where males outnumber females, females are responsible for healing the crucial existence of the beastman's energy. If there are no females to suit the male's spiritual energy, then all the male beastmen across the stars would turn into heartless and desireless beasts that only know slaughter. Therefore, females are top priority protected objects in the Blue Sea Empire. If a male encounters a female in danger and fails to provide timely rescue, resulting in the female's death, then what awaits them will be over 20 years of imprisonment. This shows just how high the status of females is in the interstellar era. When the starship returned to the Imperial base, the highest levels of the Blue Sea Empire heard that Kang Lan rescued a female from planet S001. After blood testing, it was discovered that this female's blood contained a very mysterious energy substance, identical to the purebred female recorded in legends. So they immediately dispatched the highest commander, His Highness Lanyi, to personally go and protect her. Her physical condition is not very good. If a matching blood type cannot be found within an hour, then she is very likely to die. Even across the entire interstellar, not many beastmen with this blood type can be found. Moreover, ordinary RH blood won't work. At least the blood energy of an S's level powerhouse. Confused with the blood in her body. The situation is far from optimistic. Medical officer. And Shady flipped through Suri's medical examination report. His furrowed brow was full of worry. Upon hearing this, Kang wore a grave expression. S level isn't that only our empire's prince, His Highness Lanyi, whose strength meets the requirements, but as the invincible war god, he has never been injured. There is simply no blood type record of his here. Could it be that this purebred female really won't make it? Lanyi looked at Suri lying in the medical pod. With her rare, jet-black long hair and delicate face, smaller than his palm, like a beautiful princess in slumber. Her eyes slightly closed, long eyelashes like butterfly wings, achingly beautiful and moving. This was the first time Kang felt the sensation of a racing heart. And also the first time he felt pity for her. And just at that moment, at the doorway, came a deep and richly feminine voice. I heard your conversation. Take my blood. I have the mutated RH blood type. Upon hearing this, and Shady said excitedly, this purebred female is finally saved. And Kang said, with a respectful expression, Kang pays his respects to your highness the prince, indeed. This person was precisely Prince Lanyi of the Blue Sea Empire, the Empire's first beastman to possess an S-level war god armor, and also the only male in the Blue Sea Empire with S's level strength. Seeing Kang greet him, Lanyi smiled and replied, hard work, Marshal Kang, to actually bring back a rare purebred female from planet S001. Making a tremendous contribution to the prosperity of the Blue Sea Empire. It's clear he is very satisfied with Kang's actions. Looking at Suri lying pale in the medical pod, an indescribably strange feeling stirs his heart. Because this female is different from the females he usually sees, it must be known that females in the Blue Sea Empire and other planets are basically around 1.9 meters tall. Although females cannot transform into beast forms, females with demi-human bloodlines, their height is never too short. So Suri, at 1.78 meters, is considered a relatively short female among her peers. Yet, it is precisely this petite type of female that can better arouse his protective instincts. It is her, also the first magnetism to spark such intense interest in him. An unknown amount of time passed. The eyelashes in the medical pod, resembling butterfly wings, fluttered slightly a few times. The medic who had been guarding by Suri's side, and Shady, seeing she was about to wake, immediately notified His Highness Prince Lanyi and Marshal Kang. And at this moment, it had already been a month since Suri was rescued. Her purebred bloodline had also spread among the upper echelons of the Blue Sea Empire. It must be known that currently, no S-grade females have appeared in the star system. And Suri, being a purebred female, not only has stronger fertility capabilities than ordinary females, and also possesses an extraordinarily powerful mental C. If Suri truly awakens S-grade or above mental power, then the males of S's grade and above in the Blue Sea Empire will never again, because of the energy within their bodies, turn into a beast devoid of humanity. Therefore, Suri is now the Empire's most important protected subject, and historical records have also mentioned, if one wishes to resolve the interstellar crisis once and for all, sudden attacks by alien beasts, only a powerful purebred female can accomplish it. And the Blue Sea Empire has searched for tens of thousands of years, and researched for thousands of years, yet has never cultivated a true purebred female. Now that Suri, this purebred female, has appeared, how could she not be highly valued by the Empire? At this moment, Suri struggled to open her eyes. Then, sees a tall, middle-aged man wearing a white lab coat, looking at her very kindly, with a pair of red eyes. Upon seeing these eerie red pupils, her heart suddenly beats violently. Why are this person's eyes red? And he looks to be over 2 meters tall, right? Is this uncle playing cosplay? And Shady respectfully bends at a 45-degree angle, raises his right hand and places it on his chest, smiling, "Noble little female. You have finally awakened. If there is still any part of your body that feels uncomfortable, you can tell me at any time." But when he sees Suri looking at him with a face full of wariness and bewilderment, he hurriedly explains, "Noble little female. I know you're very confused right now, but please rest assured, I won't hurt you." Suri saw that he didn't seem like a bad person, and asked curiously, "Excuse me, how long have I been unconscious? And where is this place?" Hearing Suri's soft, sweet, and gentle voice, and Shady almost couldn't control his excited heart. What an adorable little female. Then he cleared his throat lightly. "Noble little female, you have been unconscious for a month. Although this is a border base hospital, it is the best hospital in our Blue Sea Empire, so you don't need to worry about your safety." Suri was very surprised that she had been unconscious for so long. But what shocked her even more was this Blue Sea Empire he mentioned. She had never heard of this country at all. Even in foreign history, she had never heard of any Blue Sea Empire. After Suri took a bath and changed into a dress and went downstairs, she saw in Shady talking politely with two handsome men. One of them, a man with silver hair and purple eyes, seemed like a noble young master who had stepped out of a painting. The other man, with short white hair and blue eyes, exuded an aura of steady, domineering authority. These two were Lanyi and Kang, who had just arrived. However, what surprised Suri was not their exceptionally handsome faces and hair color, but their height and the look in their eyes. It's truly too shocking. She thought Shady's 2-meter height was already tall, but these two unfamiliar handsome men before her were half a head taller than him. Lanyi and Kang's gazes were soon drawn to Suri coming downstairs. They watched as she slowly descended the stairs, with a head of sleek, jet black hair, wearing an exquisite white dress. The silk, low-cut gown lightly wrapped around her curvaceous figure, yet appeared elegant and noble. At this moment, the eyes of the two men were filled with possessiveness, so beautiful and moving. How could they not be captivated by such a lovely little female? Lanyi extended his right hand and placed it over his chest, offering a gentle smile. "Hello, respected little female. I am very glad to see you have recovered your health. My name is Lanyi, the eldest prince of the Blue Sea Empire." Beside him, Kang also extended his right hand to his chest, bowing respectfully. "Hello, noble little female. My name is Kang, the Grand Marshal of the Blue Sea Empire." Hearing this, Suri smiled slightly. "Hello, my name is Suri. It's a pleasure to meet you." And Shady tactfully left, giving space to Suri and the two men. Lanyi's gentle eyes looked at her, and he slowly began introducing the Blue Sea Empire to Xia Suli. After the entire introduction, Suri learned that this place was not part of Earth, but a certain planet among the stars, and across all the planets in the star system, it was basically beastmen who were in charge. Suri never expected she actually transmigrated to the interstellar world, and it was a world where females were scarce. This also explained why Shady was so respectful towards her, because on this planet, with the disproportionate male-to-female ratio, out of 100 males, only 10 males could become female partners. This led to the phenomenon of females being revered and males being inferior, so the entire planet protected the females and promoted a marriage system of one female with multiple males, in order to better pass on the beastmen descendants, while also suppressing the berserk energy within females. Suri was deeply shocked after hearing this. This world was simply too indulgent towards females. She even felt a bit sorry for them as males. Upon learning that Kang had saved her, Suri walked up to him very gratefully, bowed and thanked him. Thank you, Kang. If you hadn't saved me, I might have died at the hands of the dinosaur. Seeing this, Kang looked utterly shocked, subconsciously reached out to help her up. This is what I should do as a male. Little female, you don't need to be polite. But Kang, upon touching Suri's soft arm, his whole body suddenly stiffened. His handsome face flushed with a hint of red. Oh, my, why is the little female's arm so soft? And why does she smell so good? Kanglin couldn't help but lean down and sniff again. It really smells so nice. Lan Yi was somewhat surprised by his little action. He never expected Kanglin, who was indifferent to any female, to one day have his heart stirred. However, what surprised Lan Yi even more was Suri's behavior. This was the first time he had seen a female bow to a male, and even say thank you to a male. After all, females are spoiled by males, and even if they are saved, it is considered something that should be taken for granted. All females are basically arrogant and conceited. Suri had no idea what they were thinking, only wondering why they were so shocked by her simple expression of gratitude. After all, she is a modern human, and definitely cannot possess the spiritual power of an ORC female. So it's better to treat others politely. Moreover, she has received a high-level education since childhood, and treating others with courtesy is her basic etiquette. After the three of them finished breakfast, they boarded Lan Yi's Starcraft spaceship and headed to the Blue Star Female Protection Center to register her identity. After Suri arrived at the Female Protection Center, the staff first registered her personal information, then conducted a full-body checkup. And just like that, Suri officially became a citizen of the Blue Sea Empire. Lan Yi and Kang then took her to register for a light brain wristband. Noble little female, your personal information has been entered into the system. From today onward, you are a citizen of our Blue Sea Empire. This is your light brain wristband. Please keep it safe. Suri from Theans of the staff took over the wristband of the light brain. After thanking, curiously opened the screen to log in, then saw her own personal information. But on her panel at this moment, it actually said a few large characters, psychic level awakening. Lan Yi keenly sensed her confusion, and gently explained, you're still in your cub stage now. Your psychic power is still awakening, so don't worry about not awakening. Kang, afraid she would be upset, also hurriedly comforted, yes. You are still young now. As long as it's before age 20, there is still a chance to awaken. Even if you don't awaken, you are still the most noble female in the Blue Sea Empire. Seeing this, Suri couldn't help but smile. Thank you for your comfort. I'm really fine. Actually, I wouldn't be sad even if I couldn't awaken. As a result, Kang and Lan Yi thought she was just putting on a brave face. Seeing her so sensible and well-behaved, their hearts completely melted. Lan Yi was arranged by the king to protect Suri, because he, as the strongest male in the Blue Sea Empire, only he could suppress the covetousness from other planets. At the same time, the king intended for him to be Suri's guardian. At first, he didn't take it seriously, but now he is willing wholeheartedly, only wanting to protect her who is pure, kind, and gentle. Kang, upon seeing Suri for the first time, was particularly interested in her. After spending time together, he also found himself completely falling for her gentle and sensible nature. The staff member nearby, seeing this, spoke, "Noble little female, given that you are a minor female, and have no partner or guardian yet, according to the Empire's minor female protection regulations, you currently need 3 guardians to protect your life and safety in the future." Hearing this, Suri frowned. Must I have guardians? I can actually take care of myself. The staff member, thinking she was unhappy, hurriedly explained, don't worry. If, after you come of age, you don't like your guardians becoming your partners, you can later dissolve the guardian relationship. After listening to what he said, Suri's eyes couldn't help but look towards King behind her. And Lanyi, one who saved her from the dinosaurs. One is donating blood to save oneself. Both are her benefactors, so they become her guardians. She can still accept it in her heart, but letting them become her partners, Suri will not consider it for now. After all, her mindset still remains in the concept of monogamy. She simply cannot imagine what it would be like to have 3 partners. Meanwhile, the two beside her are very excited. Just as Suri turns her gaze toward them, Lanyi immediately understands her meaning. I am willing to be your guardian. I just don't know if I have this honor. Kang beside her also immediately walks up to her, looking at her with a firm expression. I am willing to become your guardian. I wonder if you will give me this chance. I will definitely protect you in the future. Suri nods with a slightly reddened face. Why does it suddenly feel awkward and embarrassing? Could it be that they think I meant for them to be my partners? So she quickly explains. I think becoming each other's partners takes time. Getting to know each other, and then falling in love with each other. So, regarding the matter of partners, I don't want to choose casually. Upon hearing this, Kang looks at her firmly and says, but I am willing to wait for you. Lanyi then says softly, with a laugh, little female, you don't need to pressure yourself. Even if you don't want us to be your partners after you come of age, we will also respect your choice. After saying that, he lowered his head and kissed her fair, soft little hand. Kang also revealed a doting smile. He took her other hand, lowered his head and kissed it. Looking at the sincere pair, Suri was somewhat moved. From now on, we are family, so there's no need to use honorifics. You can call me by my name. Upon hearing this, the people around all showed expressions of disbelief, their eyes filled with excitement and envy, as they looked at Kang and Lanyi, truly worthy of being their prince and grand marshal. To have encountered such a gentle and well-behaved female, it's really enviable. A staff member then walked over and said, hello, precious female, during your minority period requires the protection of 3 guardians. Therefore, please find your next guardian within this month. Otherwise, after 1 month, our system will automatically match you with the 3rd new guardian. Also, because you have never registered any identity with the Empire, we will issue all the welfare and subsidies for females over these 17 years, directly to your light brain. Each female receives a fixed monthly allowance of 100,000 star coins. That is 1.2 million star coins per year. So for 17 years, that totals 204 million star coins. Suri, upon receiving the huge sum, showed little expression, because what concerned her now was how to find the 3rd guardian. She doesn't want to just match with anyone casually. After completing the registration, the 3 of them left the Female Protection Center. Lanyi then suggested taking Suri to Xinyao City for a stroll and buying her some clothes along the way. Suri did not refuse. After all, from today onward, they would be her guardians and could be considered her family. Lanyi looked at the petite Suri, who was so well behaved and sensible, and reached out to stroke her head. However, Suri, who had never been touched on the head by someone of the opposite sex before, instinctively dodged. Seeing the disappointed look in Lanyi's eyes, she subconsciously leaned her head back toward him. Feeling the soft touch in his palm, Lanyi showed a sincere smile. So this little female's hair is this soft. Kang saw the 2 of them acting so intimately. A trace of envy and loss showed in his eyes. Lanyi, as the strongest male in the Blue Sea Empire. Now, since he and I have both become Suri's guardians, I probably won't be able to compete for favor in the future. Suri noticed Kang's look of loss. She walked straight up to Kang. Do you want to touch it too? Kang was stunned at first. Then, a happy smile he himself hadn't noticed appeared at the corner of his mouth. So he imitated Lanyi, raising his hand and gently touched her hair. When he made contact with Suri's soft strands, his heart gave a sudden leap. His ears and face involuntarily turned red and hot, because he had turned his head away, and also because he was too tall. Suri didn't notice that he was actually shy, but Lanyi, standing to the side, saw it all clearly. This was the first time he had seen Kang like this. It seems he has completely fallen for Suri. But then again, so have I. After all, such a special Suri holds a fatal attraction for him as well. By the time the three of them reached Xingyao City, sudden exclamations from passers-by erupted around them. Oh my god, isn't that the goddess Luya at the entrance? Why is she here too? I heard yesterday she awakened S-grade psychic power during her coming-of-age ceremony. Now, she's the strongest female in our Blue Sea Empire. Luya was very pleased to hear the male's praises. However, after noticing Lanyi was also there, she felt initial delight, followed by displeasure. Because, after seeing the appearance of Suri beside him, her eyes were filled with intense jealousy. Suri, at this moment, also looked toward Luya, who was walking in her direction. She saw a woman about 1.9 meters tall, her fitted knit dress accentuating her voluptuous figure, embodying an aura of arrogance and confidence. This was the first time since Suri woke up that she had seen a female of this world. The Empire's strongest S-class female was indeed extraordinary. So tall. Seeing the approaching person, Lanyi slightly furrowed his brows, a trace of annoyance flashing in his eyes. It was actually his rude and unreasonable cousin. Luya strode aggressively up to Lanyi. Cousin Yi, I now have S-class psychic power, Aunt Li said. Only a high-class female like me. I can help suppress the berserk energy within you. Moreover, I can give birth to my first litter for you. First? So, do you want to become my first partner? After speaking, as if bestowing a favor upon Lanyi, she arrogantly raised her head to look at him. You should know. She is now the Empire's strongest female. Lanyi surely wouldn't refuse her invitation again. Although Lanyi wore a gentle smile on the surface, the words he spoke were exceptionally cold. I refuse. Hearing Lanyi's refusal without hesitation, Luya, the smile instantly froze on his face. The male beastmen in the restaurant, hearing Lanyi reject Luya's invitation, also turned to look at him with shocked expressions. Lanyi ignored them. Still wearing a resolute expression, he said apologetically, I already have a wife, so please allow me to decline being your male partner. Upon hearing this, Luya raised her hand and pointed at Suri. Is it for this malnourished, pretty little female? But aside from being a bit prettier than me, in what other way is she better than I am? You actually chose this low-class female as your wife. Are you out of your mind? Upon hearing this, Lanyi instantly lost the smile on his face. Shut up. I won't allow you to insult my future wife like this. Luya, scolded by him, was visibly startled. This was the first time she had seen him get angry. You actually dare to yell at me for this low-class female? Luya's eyes turned red. She reached out and directly swung her hand toward Suri's face. Lanyi and Kang hadn't expected her to resort to violence, so they were completely unable to stop it in time, watching as that slap headed toward Suri's face. But the next moment, all the beastmen were utterly stunned. They saw Suri effortlessly catch Luya's arm and backhand slap Luya across the face. Looking at the bright red mark on Luya's face, it was clear the force behind that slap was not light. The beastmen present were all stunned by this scene. Even Lanyi and Kang were shocked. They never would have thought that Suri, who appeared delicate and frail, could be so fierce. Suri rubbed her palm, quite displeased. Her alluring red lips pouted. She truly hadn't expected the beastwoman's face to be so tough. That slap had left her hand numb. Earlier, when Luya kept calling her an inferior female, Suri had grown very dissatisfied with her. However, Out of consideration for her being Lanyi's cousin, she had been holding back. To think that even though she hadn't said anything, the other girl had tried to hit her instead. It must be known that back on Earth, she had held the title of Taekwondo black belt. She was not the type to be bullied without fighting back. Having regained their composure, Lanyi and Kang walked to Suri's side with worried expressions. "Little Suli, are you alright?" Suri showed the two a sweet smile. "I'm fine." Lanyi, now furious, walked up to Lu Ya. "Lu Ya, haven't you caused enough trouble? Even if I were to go berserk and die in the future, I would never choose you." Lu Ya's eyes widened in sorrow, unable to believe Lanyi could be so heartless toward her. Meanwhile, Kang bent down and saw that Suri's fair, tender palm was completely red. He looked at her, his face full of heartache. "Your hand is all red. And you still say it doesn't hurt. Next time, don't use your hand to hit. Use this instead," he said. He didn't know where he pulled out an iron rod from and directly shoved it into her hand. Seeing this, Suri's mouth twitched. With one swing of this iron rod, she might just send someone off for good. Lu Ya looked at Kang in disbelief. After all, she had once pursued Kang. Now, to back Suri up, he was actually making her hit herself with an iron rod. Staring at the iron rod in Suri's hand, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted dead away from sheer rage. After someone carried Lu Ya away, the Beastman finally snapped out of it. This little female is really something, daring to even hit an S-grade female like Lu Ya. Hearing the commotion nearby, Kang and Lanyi quickly took Suri and left the restaurant. By the time the three returned to the villa area in the safe zone, the incident at the restaurant involving Suri had already gone viral on the Starnet, causing an uproar. Watching the online haters ranting and raving, Lanyi looked at Suri with a hint of apology. "Little Suri, we'll handle the Starnet matter when we return. Right now, we must go out to deal with something. During this time, you stay at home and wait for us to come back." Kang, standing nearby, added with full of concern, "There's enough nutrient packs prepared for you in the fridge. If you feel hungry at night, you can take them anytime. If you encounter any problems or need help, remember to contact us promptly via the light brain." Suri, hearing this, a slight smile. "Don't worry, I'm not a child. You two hurry and go attend to your important tasks. I'll patiently wait for you to come home." Just this simple sentence, home, felt like a warm current surging into both their hearts, making them feel exceptionally warm. Yet, looking at their serious expressions as they departed, an inexplicable unease welled up in Suri's heart. Returning to the military base, Lanyi and Kang quickly changed into an extremely cool set of battle armor. They stepped into the monitoring station with grave expressions. What happened? Could it be another alien beast attack? A male beastman nearby anxiously replied. "That's right, Grand Marshal. According to system monitoring, a large number of spatial rifts have appeared in the southern region of the Yellow Sea. Although the base already dispatched 50 first-class warriors, males to go and destroy them, but spatial rifts are still continuously emerging. The situation is getting a bit out of control." Hearing this, Lanyi, his expression grew even more grave. He deeply understood that this alien beast invasion was by no means simple. The two then prepared to set off to face this unknown challenge head-on. The two piloted the Xingyu spacecraft, streaking across the sky like meteors, finally landing in the southern region of Hainan. They looked up at the sky and saw countless fine spatial rifts interwoven together, like a giant spider web enveloping the entire area. Once the alien beasts break through the restraints and pour out from these rifts, then the Blue Sea Empire will inevitably be plunged into an unprecedented and fierce battle. At this very moment, 50 generals discovered these two. Waves of cheers rose from the crowd. People were filled with confidence in the Grand Marshal and His Highness Lanyi. However, just as everyone was rejoicing, the spatial rift in the sky, suddenly, and without warning, tore open violently. In an instant, countless alien beasts surged out like a tidal wave. Their speed was so fast it caught people completely off guard. Those present had no time to react at all. Some were immediately swallowed whole by these ferocious and terrifying alien beasts. Witnessing this scene, Kang was frantic with anxiety. He raised his voice and shouted to all the generals to engage the alien beasts in battle. The other personnel immediately sprang into action, responsible for evacuating the civilians, ensuring their safe withdrawal from this place. Lan Yi's figure flashed, and he swiftly soared into the mid-air like a phantom. In his hand, he tightly grasped an exquisite long sword emanating a mysterious aura. As Lan Yi brandished the sword, flashes of swordlight could be seen, sword shadows crisscrossing, each strike containing boundless power and skill. The alien beasts were not to be outdone either. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, pouncing towards Lan Yi, spewing torrents of blazing flames from their mouths. Immediately after, a series of dull, thunderous booms was heard. Countless alien beast corpses fell from the sky like raindrops. Unaware, Suri was lying on the sofa, boredly scrolling through the private messages in the light brain's backend. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Suri was suddenly interrupted by a series of urgent notification tones, breaking her train of thought. She opened the light brain to look. It turned out to be a video call request sent by Kang. The next moment, on the light brain screen, Kang's slightly weary face appeared. Between his brows, there even flowed a trace of faint sorrow. Seeing this, Suri's heart tightened. A sense of foreboding surged in her heart. Kang, what's wrong with you? And where's Lan Yi? Why don't I see him? Facing Suri's questioning, Kang's eyes flickered slightly, as if trying to avoid it. It's nothing, just some matters to handle. He might not be back for a while. How could his excuse possibly fool Suri? Kang, don't lie to me. Tell me quickly, what exactly happened to Lan Yi? Seeing that he could no longer continue hiding it, Kang could only helplessly sigh and tell the truth. Suri widened her eyes, unable to believe that Lan Yi had actually entered a state of berserk transformation. After reacting, she insisted on going to the military base to see him. Kanglin had no choice but to send someone to drive a spacecraft to the villa to pick her up. After stepping into the military base, her heart was filled with unease and doubt. When she saw that enormous black dragon, she was so shocked she was almost speechless. The black dragon is immense, like a small black iron fortress, standing tall in a corner of the base. And inside the cage, a giant white tiger is roaring in agony. Its voice is as thunderous and soul-shaking, making one's blood run cold. One can see that white tiger's eyes are blood red, as if burning with raging flames, its entire body emanating a dark aura. Its 4 limbs are tightly bound by 4 massive black iron chains. Suri looks towards Kang and asks with a trembling voice, "Is this Lan Yi?" She simply cannot believe that the once gentle man could have turned into such a frenzied state. Kang nods heavily. Yes, this is Lan Yi. In order to kill that Lord-level Beast King threatening the entire southern region of the Ring Sea, he did not hesitate to plunge himself into a berserk state, gaining immense power. Although he succeeded in killing that Lord-level Beast King, he also, because of this, fell into an uncontrollable state of madness. Hearing this, Suri furrows her brow tightly, her expression grave. Then how do we save him? Can we just stand by and watch him suffer like this? Kang shakes his head. He can no longer be saved. The berserk energy within Lan Yi's body has already exceeded 100%. This is irreversible. In the planet's history, no beastman has ever able to recover from the violent beast transformation. After hearing this, Suri felt a wave of sadness in her heart. But the next second, she seemed to think of something. Isn't that Luya an S-rank female? She should be able to save Lan, right? Kang helplessly sighed. Although Luya is an S-rank female, her spiritual power mainly focuses on healing and soothing. For a situation like violent beast transformation, even if she wants to help, she is powerless. Moreover, Lan Yi's current condition, any external stimulation, could make him even more frenzied. After hearing this, Suri felt a wave of disappointment in her heart. But she did not give up hope. When she saw the black gas surrounding Lan Yi, she had an indescribable feeling, so she curiously asked Kang, "What exactly is that black gas? Why does it surround Lan Yi's body?" Upon hearing this, Kang's expression suddenly became agitated. "Little Suri, can you really see this black gas? It is very likely the root cause of Lan Yi's frenzy. If we can find a way to eliminate this energy, perhaps we can make Lan Yi regain consciousness." Suri nodded. Her eyes flickered with a determined light. "I can see them. And I feel they have a kind of attraction to me. As if they want me to get closer to them." Upon hearing this, Kang frowned deeply. But upon seeing Suri's determined gaze, Kang knew she had already made a decision. So he took a deep breath. "Since you've already decided, then I'll accompany you to give it a try. But you must be careful. Absolutely must not be injured by that violent energy." She turned and walked toward the cage, her heart filled with both tension and anticipation. As she approached those black gases, she could clearly feel the powerful attraction they emitted, as if an invisible hand was pulling her. But just as she was about to touch those gases, Lan Yi suddenly let out a deafening roar. Suri's heart jolted in shock. But she did not retreat. Instead, she stared intently into Lan Yi's eyes, attempting to soothe him with her own will. The next second, Lan Yi let out a sky-shaking furious roar. The sound filled with rage and resentment. Fortunately, the chains were sturdy enough, preventing him from breaking free from his restraints. Suri took a deep breath, trying her best to calm herself down. "I'm fine," she said. She once again extended her trembling hand, slowly touching that mass of black, violent energy. The moment her finger touched the violent energy, that originally calm energy suddenly became frenzied. Like enraged beasts, they churned wildly, rushing and jostling. They surged into Suri's body. Suri suddenly let out a painful moan. Her face instantly turned deathly pale. Her body also began to tremble violently. Kang noticed her abnormality. "Well, Suri, what's wrong with you? Tell me quickly. Where are you uncomfortable?" Suri opened her eyes with difficulty. "My head hurts and my body hurts too." Before she could finish her words, she completely fell into unconsciousness. Her body went limp and collapsed into Kang's arms, showing no reaction at all. Kang looked at the unconscious Suri. His heart tightened. He hurriedly picked her up and swiftly ran towards the direction of the infirmary. While running, he shouted loudly for Mentorian, "Save her quickly." She absorbed the energy and suddenly fainted. Inside the infirmary, Shady was busily treating the injuries of other patients. Hearing Kang's voice, his heart sank. Then, he quickly had Kang place Suri into the medical pod. When he saw that Suri's heart rate and bodily functions all showed as normal, Shady breathed a sigh of relief. But when he saw Suri's psychic power data, his gaze suddenly turned grave. She actually awakened her psychic power prematurely. But how is the psychic power she awakened the lowest D-grade? Kang heard his words, his face full of disbelief. How is this possible? Little Suli is only 17 years old. There's still a year until adulthood. How could she awaken psychic power so early? Upon hearing this, Shady frowned deeply. This is the first time I've seen such a situation. Could it be? That's because she absorbed those berserk energies. It caused her to awaken psychic power prematurely. However, awakening degrades psychic power isn't necessarily a bad thing. Although the psychic power level is somewhat low, at least she has awakened. Upon hearing this, Kang nodded, his heart still filled with worry. And at this moment, inside the prison cell, Lan Yi's massive beast form was slowly shrinking, finally transforming into a human shape. Lan Yi looked at the chains on his hands and feet, a flicker of confusion passing through his eyes. Lan Yi tried hard to recall what had happened before, but his mind was completely blank. The guards outside the cell, seeing that Lan Yi had returned to his beastman form, they felt an indescribable surge of astonishment and bewilderment in their hearts, never expecting that he, who had been in a state all along, had miraculously returned to normal. They deeply understood the significance of the situation. Therefore, they quickly reported the news of Lan Yi's recovery to their superiors. Afterwards, they hurriedly opened the cell door and said, with respectful faces, "Your Highness the Prince, you're awake." Lan Yi looked up at them. What happened in the cell today? Upon learning that the last female he had contact with was Sori, and then, when she fell unconscious and was urgently taken to the infirmary by Kang, a trace of panic flashed in Lan Yi's eyes. He immediately rushed toward the infirmary. "Little one, you must not be in any danger." When Kang saw Lan Yi, he was also startled. "You actually regained your senses from the berserk state. It seems little Suri really can devour berserk energy." Clearly, Kang was very surprised at this moment. Hearing this, Lan Yi was full of confusion. What exactly is going on? Why did my berserk energy only drop to 60%? Hearing him say his berserk energy reached 60%, Kang was greatly shocked. Little Suri can actually devour 40% of berserk energy. No wonder she said it hurt before she fell unconscious. It was probably caused by absorbing too much at once. Lan Yi's brows furrowed even tighter. He felt extremely guilty inside. However, regarding Suri's awakened devouring ability, he was still very shocked. This ability is unheard of among all beastmen. This not only overturns the concepts of the Blue Sea Empire, but also upended the very existence of males across the entire star system. Once other planetary beastmen find out, the Blue Sea Empire will likely never know peace again. So this news must be sealed. Finally, his expression became serious. "Instructor Kang Yin, to ensure the little one's life safety, the matter of her awakening the devouring ability, I hope, besides the three of us, no fourth ORC will know. As for the information on the optical brain system, it was rewritten to say she awakened the ability to heal spirits, which can weaken the berserk energy value within males." After arranging all matters, Lan Yi finally felt slightly relieved. Then he looked down at Suri, who had fallen into a deep sleep. This delicate yet pale face made his heart ache with tenderness. He had never imagined that Suri would pay such a great price just to save him. Before this, Lan Yi had always disguised himself well. However, Suri's actions broke the ice within his heart, allowing him to feel genuine warmth and care. Although he is a prince of the empire, he has never felt love. Throughout his upbringing, countless people surrounded him, superficially flattering him, but in reality, each harboring their own motives. Growing up in such an environment, Lan Yi's heart had long grown accustomed to loneliness and vigilance. It wasn't until Suri appeared that he once again felt hopeful about the future. He gently stroked Suri's cheek, silently vowing to protect her no matter what, and never let her suffer any harm again. Kang watched Lan Yi, who remained unwavering, guarding by her side, and couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion in his heart. "Little one, now, all bodily functions are very healthy. You yourself have only just emerged from a berserk state. Not long ago, you have already been guarding by her side for a full 10 days now. If this continues, your body will definitely not be able to take it. You should go back and get some proper rest first. I will look after things here. There won't be any problems." Upon hearing this, Lanyi shook his head. "No need, I'm really fine." Meanwhile, Suri, who was in a deep sleep, was trapped in an endless darkness at this moment. She could no longer remember how long she had been wandering here. Just as she was almost in despair, a dazzling light shone not far away, instantly capturing her attention. A wave of ecstatic joy surged in her heart. Without hesitation, she dashed toward that beam of light. Finally, she could escape this terrifying place. She wondered if Lanyi was safe and well. The next second, her eyes snapped open, and she immediately saw Lanyi sitting on a chair, with his eyes closed, resting. A trace of fatigue was still visible between his brows. Suri looked at him, and a flicker of joy passed through her heart. It was such a relief that he was okay. But seeing him in such a haggard state, her heart ached, and she reached out to tug gently at his sleeve. "Lanyi, you should go lie down on the bed." Hearing Suri's voice, Lanyi's eyes flew open, and then he pulled her into a tight embrace. "Little one, you must never do such foolish things again. What would I do if something happened to you?" His voice was somewhat low, carrying a hint of hoarseness and trembling, as if suppressing endless emotions. The next second, she slowly raised her hands as well, returning Lanyi's embrace. "I'm sorry, Lanyi, for making you worry. It won't happen again." Lanyi felt the warm and soft hands on his back. His body trembled slightly, and he hugged Suri tightly once more, as if wanting to press her into his own body. At this moment, his heart was beating fiercely, as if it were about to leap out of his chest. He knew that his feelings for Suri had already become increasingly irresistible. Right now, he just wanted to fully feel her presence, feel her warmth, feel her breath, and prepared to go to the infirmary to visit Suri. He saw the two embracing by the bedside just outside the door. His eyes first flashed with a trace of surprise, then lowered, inexplicably feeling somewhat lost. Suri was the first to notice King standing at the door. Her face instantly turned bright red. Then, she patted Lanyi's back a bit sheepishly. Hearing that Kang had arrived, Lanyi reluctantly let go of her. Kang forced a smile that looked even worse than crying. "Did I disturb you too? Should I step aside for a moment?" Suri saw that he was about to leave. She quickly called out, "Kang, don't go. You haven't disturbed us." Lanyi left quite tactfully. Seeing Kang's nervous look, Suri smiled playfully. "Shall we have a hug? To celebrate my awakening." Hearing that, she wanted a hug. Kang's handsome face instantly flushed bright red. He had never hugged any female before, not even his own mother. Seeing that Kang didn't reach out for a long time, Suri felt a bit disappointed. "Don't you like it? Then we won't hug." Kang quickly stepped forward, held her tightly, and said softly, "It's not that I don't like it. It just feels like all of this is like a dream." Upon hearing this, Suri, her eyes shining with a bright light, "I really feel very happy now. It is precisely because of the existence of you and Lanyi that has reignited in me an infinite longing for future life and anticipation." Kang's gaze gently falls upon Suri at this moment. "I also feel extremely happy." Lanyi outside the infirmary door is now quietly leaning against the wall, listening to the conversation between the two inside the room. The corner of his mouth slightly lifts, revealing a faint smile. Then he slowly turns around, as if afraid of disturbing the warm and beautiful atmosphere inside the room. After Suri left Kang's embrace, both of their faces flushed slightly, looking somewhat at a loss. Both of them have never had contact with the opposite sex. This contact suddenly added an awkward atmosphere to the air. It wasn't until Lanyi returned with food that this awkward stalemate was broken. Seeing the two of them acting awkward and shy, Lanyi couldn't help but let the corner of his mouth lift slightly. Kang, hold. Little liar, come over to eat. Don't just stand there dumbfounded. Upon hearing this, Kang, without hesitation, scooped Suri up into his arms and strode toward the dining table. Caught off guard, Suri was suddenly lifted into the air, frightening her into tightly wrapping her arms around Kang's neck. This embrace made Kang's handsome, cold face flush red once again, as if the evening glow were shining upon his face. His ears also turned crimson. At this moment, his heart felt as if it were about to leap out of his chest. The little one was so close to him. The scent of her body was like blooming flowers, emitting an enchanting fragrance, intoxicating to the senses. Only after placing the person on the chair did Kang feel his hands empty and finally snap back to reality. After breakfast, Suri's light brain suddenly emitted a crisp notification sound, displaying a deposit message, 10 million star coins. This sudden windfall left her somewhat bewildered. How could so much money suddenly appear? Could it be that I've been asleep for a month, and this is my welfare and subsidy? Filled with doubts, Suri opened the system to check the details, only to discover in surprise that the money actually came from someone named Luya. Wasn't this the arrogant woman who humiliated her in the restaurant, calling her an inferior female? Why would she transfer money to her? At that moment, Lanyi, who was nearby, noticed her puzzled expression. Last time in the restaurant, Luya humiliated you, and you couldn't help but hit her. The scene happened to be captured by someone with ulterior motives and posted on the Starnet. Luya took this opportunity to slander you extensively. It made everyone misunderstand you. But that still doesn't justify transferring money to yourself. Before Suri could speak, Lanyi continued, because I posted the complete video of Luya humiliating you that day, along with every word she said, without missing a single detail, onto the Starnet. After learning the truth, netizens stepped forward one after another and launched a massive wave of complaints against Luya. After Luya lost the lawsuit, due to tarnishing the good reputation of other females, she was severely punished by the Empire's law enforcers. Not only did she have to pay a fine of 10 million star coins, but it also completely ruined her reputation. Hearing this, Suri suddenly understood, when she saw on her light brain, that her psychic level was degraded. She was confused again. When did she awaken her psychic abilities? Lanyi then explained to her some of the circumstances. During her period of unconsciousness, Suri was very happy to learn the truth. She originally thought she would never awaken psychic abilities in this lifetime. Kang and Lanyi exchanged a smile upon seeing this. They found that she wasn't saddened or disheartened by awakening the lowest grade. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Luya, who had just completed the 10 million star coin transfer, felt her inner hatred for Suri grow even stronger. She believed it was all because of this despicable, weak female. He made himself the laughingstock of the entire interstellar world. What Luya found even more unacceptable was that as a female possessing S-level spiritual power, she wished to form a partnership with Lanyi, but was repeatedly rejected. This sense of humiliation and anger intertwined, filling Luya's heart with resentment and hatred. All these negative emotions, like surging, turbulent tides, converged and were redirected entirely onto Suri. After the three of them finished breakfast, and Shady went to the medical room and conducted a full-body examination for Suri. After confirming there were no abnormalities, he allowed her to return home to rest and recuperate with peace of mind. Thus, Suri returned to the villa area together with Lanyi. As for Kang, he needed to continue heading to the southern region of Hainan to lead everyone in clearing out the remaining spatial rifts. The moment the two returned home, the doorbell outside began ringing impatiently and incessantly. When Lanyi saw clearly who was standing outside the door, His originally handsome brows furrowed slightly, but he still turned and opened the door. The instant the door swung open, a voice filled with resentment rang in his ears. "Lan Yi, have you gone mad? There are countless male beastmen out there who dream of becoming Zhao Ya's bonded partner. How dare you flatly reject her? Do you even have any respect for me, your mother? Zhao Ya is now an S-level female. Being able to be her first partner is your blessing. Now, you go apologize to Zhao Ya immediately, then form a partnership with her." From the moment the woman entered, Sori sized her up from head to toe. She saw that the woman possessed beautiful silver hair that shimmered like the Milky Way. It was likely that Lan Yi inherited her appearance. She looked to be in her 30s, dressed very luxuriously. Hearing her words, Lan Yi suppressed the anger in her heart and looked at the woman with a resolute expression. "I will not go apologize to Lu Ya, nor will I form a partnership with her. I already have a wife. Her name is Suri. So mother, there's no need to persuade me further." Ali didn't expect that the usually obedient Lan Yi would dare to defy her. This made her feel extremely unhappy. Indeed, as Lu Ya said, Lan Yi, he has long been bewitched by that lowly female, to the point of losing his senses. The next second, a slap landed fiercely on Lan Yi's face. "How dare you? I am your queen, mother. How dare you speak to me like this? Who gave you the nerve?" Sori saw from afar that Lan Yi had been struck to the ground, frightening her into rushing to his side. "Lan Yi, are you all right? Are you hurt?" Lan Yi shook his head at Sori. "I'm fine." But Sori still caught in Lan Yi's eyes a glimpse of sorrow and forced strength. This kind of pain was all too familiar to her, as if she could feel it herself. In her past life, her own mother was just like Lan Yi's mother, forcing her to do things she didn't like. And precisely because of this, she now felt a deep resonance with Lan Yi's state of mind. She could especially understand the pain he was enduring. So Sori, with an angry face, roared at Ali. "You are utterly unworthy of being a mother. Lan Yi has already clearly stated he is unwilling. Why do you still force him to form a contract with a female he doesn't like? Can't you just show some respect for his thoughts and opinions? Is it merely because you are his queen mother, the mother who gave birth to and raised him, that you feel you have the right to impose your personal will upon him, completely disregarding whether he accepts it willingly or not?" By the end of her words, Suri's eyes couldn't help but grow moist. Her heart ached for Lan Yi, that he had to encounter such a domineering and unreasonable mother. At the same time, she felt even more sorrow for Lan Yi, because they were both people who could not choose their birth mothers. Lan Yi stood there, his facial expression extremely complex. At this moment, an indescribable emotion surged in his heart. He had never thought that there would be someone who could understand the thoughts in his heart so profoundly. All along, he had been that strong, independent person. But now, he felt a warmth he had never experienced before. When he looked at Sori again, he found himself unable to conceal the joy in his heart. He was hit, yet he smiled, that smile containing far too many emotions. At this moment, Lan Yi understood what true heart-pounding emotion meant. And this feeling would also become one of the most precious treasures in his life. As the most esteemed female of the Blue Sea Empire, Ali would not allow any beastman to dare speak to her like this. So Ali didn't think twice. She raised her hand to slap Suri's little face. But the hand she had just raised was caught by Lan Yi, who was standing nearby. Lan Yi looked at her with a cold gaze, as if he wanted to pierce right through her. "Mother, you can hit me, but you absolutely cannot lay a single finger on her. Otherwise, even if you are my mother, I will not hesitate to attack you." In order to protect my wife, Ali was frightened by his utterly icy and hostile gaze. She stumbled back several steps in fear, her body trembling involuntarily. Then she raised a trembling hand to point at Lan Yi. her voice filled with both fear and anger. You would, for a lowly female, want to kill your own birth mother. Just you wait. I will definitely tell your father about this. Let him know what you have done. When the time comes, the future king's position of the Blue Sea Empire will have nothing to do with you. However, facing Ailey's threat, Lan Yi remained exceptionally calm. The corner of his mouth lifts slightly, revealing a trace of a disdainful smile. It doesn't matter. What I've ever cared about was never the throne.